Hello Sim Racers and welcome to Friday live stream. Welcome everybody, and first of all let me thank you so much for your big support. This channel is growing really well. We are over 30,000 before the end of the year, and this is all thanks to you and your great support, and I'm really grateful for all the following that you are giving us. And most importantly, it's really nice for me to check and watch the community, the Discord community, which is growing. I think we are way over 7,000 users right now in the Discord community. And the best thing is that the old guys of the community are always very welcome. They have taken on their shoulders, the responsibility to welcome the new members, to guide them, to show them everything that we have learned inside the community. And I really have to thank them, because if you don't know, I will tell you, in Kunos we are using Discord for work. So I cannot be always there. That's why I don't reply into personal messages in Discord, because everything is muted for me except from my colleagues' personal messages. And I only watch whenever I can during the day the Discord community. So I apologize in advance if I don't reply into your personal messages, but I can assure you, if you post into the Discord community, either the old members will know the answer, or at some point I will try to answer your questions. So again, big thanks to all the members of the Discord community, especially the old ones, that they are helping out the community. And welcome to all the new members. Every day they are arriving so many new members, and it's really great. So yeah, it's pretty emotional. I'm really grateful about that. That's why we're going to do some special live streams in the following weeks during the holidays. We are going to do, of course, our big community race for before Christmas, and after Christmas and before New Year's Eve we're going to do some special marathon live streams. More about this next week, as we will be organizing it, and it's going to be special. I hope that people will be happy about that. And I'll let you know more once we have a couple of things ready and organized, so that we can start organize the whole thing. So, hello everybody in the chat already. So many people. Καλησπέρα από την Αθήνα. Παγωμένοι, wow. So tonight, special live stream. We're gonna talk about the beloved subject of probably all sim racers out there. So we're gonna talk about force feedback, and it's not gonna be. I know that probably most of you wait for me to give you some numbers and some values to use and magically get the best force feedback. But you know me by now, it's gonna be a little bit different. There's gonna be some run, there's gonna be some bad words. Probably I'm gonna put the whole sim racing community in a little bit of flame, maybe, but I think it's for the best, and may the first be with all of us. Yeah. Okay. So, hello everybody in the chat. Hope you're all doing fine. All right. Let's see how it's going. Okay. Cool. All right, so let's start. Let's talk about an hour or so about force feedback, and then we're going to do two community races with the GT Force. So at about 10 o'clock, I will switch. If we're done, I will switch to the race server and have some fun together. All right, so let's start first about how to force feedback. Okay, the title, as I said, I never. Okay. Let's before do that, a comment on Formula 1 GP, because from the chat they asked me a comment about Formula 1 GP. my comment on Formula 1 GP, my comments on Formula 1. So when I was 16 years old, 17 years old, with the friends, every once in a while I was watching wrestling, WWE. And obviously my parents were not very happy about that, and most importantly they were making fun of me because obviously everything was fixed and it was just a spectacle, and that was it. Now, who's laughing now? So yeah, it has become way too much spectacle. I admit that I haven't been watching properly Formula 1 for a couple of years. It's not what I'm expecting to watch. But most importantly, and I might be a little bit controversial here, no matter what, okay, no matter what the result, no matter who won and why it won and so much, I believe that the moment you accept to be part of such a big show and a big organization like this, some call it sport, I don't think it's sport anymore, but the moment that you accept to be in there and you sign in, and making all this buzz around a result, but trying also to stay politically correct and say, oh, this one was, he won because he was a very good driver, but the whatever rules or what, you don't do that in my honest opinion. You just accept whatever happened. That's all. Behind the curtains, you can do whatever noise you want. You can smash the tables, whatever. You can bring the lowers, but making all this noise, say that you're gonna go to the court, whatever, and then magically, okay, that's fine. We won't do anything, but we won't speak to you anymore. Oh, come on, yeah, it's ridiculous. It's child's play, and it's all clickbaity, and I hate clickbait. So, anyway, that's my comment. Enough. The rest is all so. It's just so. How to force feedback? Okay, how to force feedback. How to force feedback. So I have prepared a little bit of slides in somewhat a presentation-like stuff to help point to help understand some of the concepts, because in my opinion what I'm about to tell you tonight is about the concept of force feedback and how we understand it, and then maybe give you some advice on how you could at least be certain that what you feel is what you should be, feeling from the first feedback, so you don't have any errors on your drivers or whatever. And after you have this ready, then I'm going to give you a couple of hints of and tips of how you could play around with values or whatever and feel different things. But let's try. So let's start with this, and let's go here. Where are we? Here we are, I believe. Right. So how to force feedback? Okay. How to force feedback. So we're going to talk about force feedback. What is the perfect force feedback? Clipping, dumping, magic words, whatever. Okay? Right. Number one. Oops, sorry. I don't even know if it works. Alright, so the perfect force feedback doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. This is a chimera. This is a utopian subject, something that everybody tries to achieve, but please let me know in the chat what is the perfect force feedback for you. Before you do that, let's go further forwards and explain why the perfect force feedback doesn't exist. So, okay, so I've made a small diagram, even in 3 dimensions, okay? And it's a very simple diagram which says, you know, you can have a force feedback that is less or more communicative, okay? You can have a force feedback that is less or more realistic, whatever that means, okay? And you can have a force feedback that you get information about the front of the car and the rear of the car, whatever that means, okay? And I've just placed a couple of our, you know, beloved simulators, okay, in the diagram. I've just placed them around. I'm not even, I mean, you can change everything as you like. It doesn't matter, okay? You can change everything. You can put Aris in more or less, but pretty much close into the same position, okay? So whatever you think for any of the simulators doesn't matter, because everywhere in the community, okay, even on the sim racers that are in love with their, you know, beloved and preferred sim, they still try and search to improve the force feedback. And you can see that. You can ask any sim racer, and you will see that everybody is trying to use the settings of another guy and use the settings of another website and change the steering wheel with another steering wheel, and so on and so forth. So everybody tries to obtain the perfect force feedback. And so my question is, where is for you? Can you show me where the perfect force feedback is? So is it there? Is it over there for you? Okay. Or is it maybe over here, over down here for you? So more realistic, but more feeling of the rear wheel's force feedback. Or is it over there, less realistic but more communicative? Because we have people that say, no, the force feedback has to be more communicative some way because I lack the G-forces of the real car, whatever. So where is the perfect force feedback? Does it exist? It doesn't. It doesn't. For each one of us, it's different. And why it's different? Why is that? Why the perfect preference for each one of us is different? Well, here's why. So the first feedback is my mic is going mute. I think there's a problem with the upstream. Let me see. Let me know if it's better. I hope it's better now. Sorry about that. It should be better now. So I think there was a problem for a while. The internet, my internet connection was going down. Now it should be back again. All right. So okay. So let's go back. So the first feedback is a language, and let me explain you what I mean by that. Now, in reality, which we know reality is perfect, right? Because actually reality is not perfect. It's inevitable. Reality is what it happens. You cannot change it. If you are in your own car, the feedback that you get from your own car, this is it. There's no sliders to play around. There is nothing for you to say, oh, this is not properly simulated. That's it, right? What you get, that's it. Okay. So, because in reality, you get some feedback from the chassis and the steering wheel. Okay, so the steering wheel gives you some feedback, the chassis vibrates, gives you some feedback. You get some feedback from the visual, from your eyes. So you see what is going on around you, and this gives some feedback to your brain. And then you get some feedback from the sounds, okay? So you listen to the tires squeaking, you listen to the car vibrations, you listen to the sound of the road, to the engine, whatever, and this again gives some feedback to your brain. And obviously, you feel on your butt or on your body, you feel the G-forces and the vibrations, and those also gives a feedback to your brain, right? All of that is something that you need to learn, and your brain needs to learn how to react into all this feedback coming from all your sensors so that it can react. So you get all those things, your brain works it out and gives, some reactions to your muscles so that you can try to keep control of the car. Which means that your brain needs to understand all of those inputs and talk back and react from all those inputs. That is why the first feedback is a language. You need to understand what the input's telling to you. You learn how to react, and then you react. And the more you practice and the more you learn, because the feedback is always the same in reality, right? The more you get better and the more your reactions are, proper. Okay. So this is what happened. This is why the first feedback is a language. It's a language between your brain and all your sensors. Now, there are different force feedback approaches in the simulation. Okay. The first approach is to make everybody happy. So practically the developer says, okay, I don't care. You want to have the best feedback in the world, make it your own. So they give you all these sliders you can have. So you get sliders for the power of the feedback, the force, dampening, rod effects, the weight of the front wheels, the weight and the influence of the rear wheels grip into the force feedback. There are sims that they're having available. Some other sims, they even put different numbers like flavor and astrology, where the planets stay, and the Nostradamus, and the stonks always go up, and the crypto is everywhere. So you do it. Here are the sliders. Have fun. What is the result of that? Right. The result of that is that everybody starts moving around the sliders. And the more you move around the sliders, the different idioms and dialects of force feedback you have. So everybody is learning a different language, and everybody is trying to see if the language of the other person is better than his own one. And so they start asking around, give me your values and let me try this, and this is better. No, this is... And this is exactly what is happening also with the setups, You constantly ask setups from other drivers with the hope to become a faster driver, to have better performance. And sometimes it works for you, and sometimes you get the setup of an alien, which is like 2 seconds faster than you, and you cannot even drive his setup, for example. Or the other way around. Because also the other way around, it happens as well, right? So you get some aliens that simply cannot make setups, and they drive whatever they have on hand, and sometimes they can't even drive the proper setups, or they manage to do lap times even though their setups is shit. Happens also as well. So, and because as we said, force feedback is a language. Everybody is trying to do whatever thinks it's better. But as we said before, nobody can determine what is the best force feedback. There is no way to determine this. And you don't even do it in your real car. In your real car, if you have a Lotus, you have excellent force feedback. And then if you jump into a Porsche old style with the servo-assisted steering, you have excellent feedback from the steering wheel. And then you jump into the first Porsche with the electro-assisted steering, and it's not so good. And so what do you think? That the guys that bought the Porsches with the first electro-assisted steering are changing values to make it better? That's it. You cannot change it. You have to deal with it. So after a while, you learn to deal with the car, and everything is wonderful again because, life is good. You're driving a Porsche, right? So this is the first approach. In Kunos, I'm not saying that this is a wrong approach. It has its own merits. Fine. In Kunos, we decided to not do this approach for very, very, very specific reasons. And this is our approach. Our approach is make everybody mad. But it is the objective approach. Okay. Everybody gets mad because obviously you are forcing everybody to learn the same language. There are no sliders except a couple of sliders. That's all. So there is no sliders there. So all you have to do is force yourself to learn the same language. And some people are happy with that because they can already understand the language. Okay. Some people are not so happy and they try to adapt themselves. And some people go absolutely mad and berserk and never accept it and change sim or start doing strange things with their configurations or whatever. Okay. So why we choose this kind of approach? Because for us it's objective, and that is very important for us because we do simulation. And what does that mean? It means that we calculate the tire forces in the physics. Those tire forces go into the suspension geometry and they get multiplied by the suspension leverage of the kinematics. So, you have different suspension geometries, which means that a force generated at the tire goes through the whole suspension kinematics, and all those kinematics are levers, practically. And the levers create different forces, which end up to the steering column. Those forces are there and are then sent to the steering wheel driver, and they are just multiplied by the force and the dampening. So if you want more force or less force, you just have a slider, and if you want a little bit more damping or less damping, you have another slider. That's it. That's it. Now, as I said, what does that mean? This means that you cannot play with it, honestly. You have to learn the language. You have to get used to it. So it means that if you have done everything correctly in your driver settings and in the game, it should be the same for everybody. Okay. And why is this objective? Well, this is objective because we know that if someone has done everything correctly, at least in theory, and most of the time in practice, what I feel you should feel, and what you should feel, your friends should feel the same, and what your friends should feel, it also the professional drivers should feel, and so on and so on. So everybody has the same experience. You might like it, you might love it, you might hate it. It doesn't matter. It is the same. Which means for us that we have no, representations, personal representations, suggestive impressions of whatever. Which means that if we find real drivers and race drivers or whatever, that they have sim racing experience and they are already used and can communicate properly, because we also have to take into account this thing, it means that we can get their input and feedback and understand, do we have a problem with our physics? Because at that point we have a problem with the physics, not with the force feedback simulation. There is no force feedback simulation. There is physics simulation, and the force feedback is generated by the physics. So we can understand, is there a problem with the physics? We have to work on the physics harder, better, find more solutions, find improvements to do, and that's what we do. If they are happy and the whole reaction is very close to the real car, only in terms of steering, then we know that our physics work good enough. Never the same, because it's not reality, but good enough. And we try to find how we can improve it without making changes to the force feedback, right? So this is how we do it, and this is why we choose to do this kind of approach. And again, it doesn't matter if you feel better in another simulator or if your experience in reality is different and you think that Assetto Corsa Competizione is not realistic. It doesn't matter for us. And I'll tell you why. We have people telling us, for example, that, oh, you know what, when I accelerate, the force feedback doesn't vibrate and doesn't go light. That gives me an indication that that person, for example, has only experience from front-wheel drive cars. That's it. In front-wheel drive cars, you put your foot down, the front wheels start to slip around, and when they slide, the front steering wheel becomes lighter and vibrates. So they have no experience from rear-wheel drive. Or we have people telling me, well, when I arrive at the peak of the grip, and I have understeer, the steering wheel doesn't become light. That gives me an indication that their experience is from professional go-karting, for example, which is something that you want to do. And you want to make the steering wheel pretty light because it has to, the whole go-kart, in order to turn the go-kart, you have to raise the inner rear wheel, which means that the front suspension geometry must be in a way that the whole go-kart and your weight, yourself, practically raises up when you steer so that it can raise the inner rear wheel. Or we have people, complaining for whatever reasons. And all those people complaining for one reason and the other reason at the same time. So you have at the same time people saying, oh, it doesn't become lighter. And then you have another guy saying, oh, it becomes too light. So everybody has its own experience, its own beliefs, right? And expects from that maybe limited or not experience and belief to feel the same things here, while at the same time you don't have the G-forces, for example, or all the vibrations that you have into a car and so on and so on. That means that unfortunately, but it is the truth, your beliefs and opinion are not objective, are very limited, are limited to whatever you have experienced, maybe for your whole life. It doesn't matter. Maybe you are, you could be even a professional race driver that has driven, and it has happened to me, for 2 decades only front-wheel drive cars. It's not enough. It's not enough. So that is why you need to understand and you need to learn the language of your first feedback. Okay? All right, so how do we do that? How do we do this thing? Well, first of all, we need to make sure that we don't have any wrong configurations in the driver, of the steering wheel, and inside the game. So let's go through 5 steps to ensure that we have everything properly set up. Okay? So, first step, fix steering wheel angle. This is the first step we have to do. Fix steering wheel angle. What I mean by that? In Assetto Corsa Competizione and Assetto Corsa 1, and I think now pretty much in all other simulators, if I'm not wrong, I'm talking specifically PC version. Okay, unfortunately, parentheses, for the old console version of Assetto Corsa Competizione, you still have to find out the degrees of rotation for every car and adjust your steering wheel. I hope they will fix it at some point. But let's focus first on PC version. And in any case, what I'm about to tell you works for any kind of scene, any kind of PC version or console version. Also on, also of course on Assetto Corsa Competizione and Assetto Corsa 1. So fix steering wheel angle. What I mean by that? So let's go in game for a moment. All right, let's go in game. I won't even change setup.
Green light. Go, go, go.
The most important thing to do is make sure that, and I hope that you can see also my steering wheel here, is that when you are rotating your steering wheel, your physical steering wheel in front of you, also the virtual steering wheel rotates at the same exact rate. And as a matter of fact, if I put it at 90 degrees here, the virtual steering wheel has to be at 90 degrees. If it doesn't, that means that you have an error in your configuration. And how do you fix that? The easier fix is you go into the options, controls, and you set your steering wheel at 900, for example, here, like this, at 900, and also you set your driving, your steering wheel drivers at 900. Okay, this is our configuration and advice on that. Some steering wheels, like for example this one that I have here, can go even higher. So I have set this at 180 and also the steering wheel at 180. Okay. So you have to set your steering wheel to some value high enough. Usually 900 is the highest you can set. And once you have done that, both in the steering wheel driver, so in the steering wheel driver you will find a slider that you can set up exactly as you want, the degrees, and also same number in the options controls of the game. Okay. Then you go into the game and double verify that the movement of your physical steering wheel is exactly the same as the movement of the virtual steering wheel. This is very important. I have seen people, professional drivers, YouTubers, whatever, setting the physical steering wheel in less degrees because in their opinion it makes the force feedback higher and it makes the steering wheel more direct or whatever. What they are actually doing without knowing is simply going into the garage and setting the steer ratio at a lower number. It is the same thing. It is the same thing. Jonat says T300 goes up to 1080 degrees. Should I set it like that in driver and game? You can. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. 900 works already. Why? Because the GT3 cars don't even arrive closely to 900. So 900 is the same. If you want to set it 1080, set it 1080, no problems. But again, I repeat, setting your steering wheel at a lower rate than the in-game option degrees is the same as going lower in the steering ratio. It's the same thing. They are just living into the placebo that, oh, it moves faster. It's the same thing, actually, okay? And you don't have it. If you had the, the physics, and you can do that into Assetto Corsa 1, where you have the physics HUD. In the physics HUD, you can see the actual degrees of the wheels, of the tires, and it is the same thing. So you steer the wheel at the same degrees, and you see the tire steering more or less depending on the steer ratio that you are having. Andrea Iacchini, again, it doesn't matter if you set it at 900 or 1080, as you can also set it at 950 and 970. What you have to do is set it the same degrees in the steering wheel driver and the same degrees into the game. That's the important thing. And to double verify that you have done it correctly, you go into the game. Okay, you go into the game and you control that your steering inputs with your hands are the same, okay, as the virtual. One-on-one, exactly, Briar. So this is what you need to do. Let me lower a little bit the audio. Sorry about that. This is good. Okay. So this is setting number one. Fix your steering wheel degrees. Okay. Fix your steering wheel degrees. Let's move forward. So, number two. Check steering wheel driver sliders. Check steering wheel driver sliders. What I mean by this. Okay. So let's go to driver sliders here, I believe. So every steering wheel has its own driver inputs and sliders, okay? Dr. Respect, we just does the same thing. Driver or into the steering wheel, it's the same. It doesn't matter. You either do one or the other, it's the same. So, driver sliders. For example, Logitech steering wheels have, the new hub has practically only 3 sliders. So here you can set 900 as we said. Check that the sensitivity is 1:1, it's linear. To do so in the Logitech you need to have it at 50. Very important thing, all steering wheels have the same thing. Centering spring strength. You have to disable this. Centering spring has to be 0. I've seen people use it 1, use it low, use it high. You have to put it at 0, because if you don't put it to 0, it covers all the other effects from the physics. More or less, but it covers the other effects of the physics. So the centering spring has to be 0. What is the centering spring? Centering spring is that I move my steering wheel into whatever angle. Okay, I move my steering wheel into whatever angle like this. And when I leave it alone, it starts to rotate back alone to 0 and stops there. Okay. This is wrong. It shouldn't happen. You have to put when the car is stopped. So the car is stopped, okay, and you put your steering wheel into whatever angle, and the steering wheel should stay there with the car stopped. Okay. If you're driving a Citroën DS, John Smith, you're my man. I love Citroëns. It's another issue. If you're driving a Citroën SM, it's even a different issue. So let's let's not talk about that right now. And if we do it, we will simulate it from the game. Okay, so let's not talk about that. So you put your steering wheel into whatever rotation, like this, and with the car stopped and the physics working, when you let it, it should stay there. If you see that your steering wheel rotates back and goes back to 0, then that means that you have centering spring enabled. In the Thrustmaster, it's auto center, it's called, and you have it enabled. Don't do that. Disable it, put it to 0. Disable centering spring and auto center settings and put it to 0. Into the Fanatec as well, there is a centering spring. I don't remember the name. Again, make sure that the centering spring is set to 0, and to do so, you need to make sure that when you are moving the steering wheel around, okay, when you leave it alone, it doesn't come back. It doesn't come back automatically. It's very important. All right. Okay. This was our second verification. Third verification. Check clipping. Now we start to driving. So what is clipping? Now that's important. What is clipping? Actually, let me go back to the sliders. So number 2, steering wheel driver sliders. We haven't finished. Once you have done everything, okay, go into if your drivers permit it, go into your drivers and set the overall strength of all forces at 100%. All the forces at 100%. Okay? You want to have the driver giving all the power it can give to the steering wheel, at least for the consumer steering wheels. For direct drives, things start to be a little bit different. We will talk about them in a minute, but for the consumer wheel, you want to have as high force as possible for the driver settings. Now, again, small parenthesis here. Once you have done all those things, you can still fine-tune and move a little bit lower, higher, whatever. We are not talking about that right now. We are talking about verification that your drivers and your steering wheel works properly, and then you're gonna set it. First, you verify that all your settings are working properly. So all your strength forces are going to be at 100%, except the auto center and self-centering springs settings. This has to be 0 and disabled. Okay? Is that clear, guys? Is that clear? Okay, good. Once you have your driving slider set up, then it's time to go in game and start verifying the clipping. And so what is clipping? Okay, so let's see. So you go into your game, you go into your options, controls, and you put the gain, which is the force, the multiplied force of the physics into your steering wheel. Okay, into your steering wheel. You put it to 100%. You put it to 100%. Owners of direct drive or very, very high-end consumer wheels, watch out, it might be way too powerful for you. We are talking about consumer products that have lower force, okay, lower force. So for you, maybe you want to start with a lower number. You guys that have direct drives and stuff like that, you want to start with a lower number. You know that already, that your steering wheel is extremely powerful, so be careful. For the consumer guys, Logitech's Thrustmasters, normal up to a point, because higher Thrustmaster wheels have higher forces. Maybe Fanatec of the belt side, you can put it on 100 and try some stuff. Okay. Fernando, I just said for Thrustmaster actually. So we go into gain 100, and what you want to do is get into your car, okay, and you want to drive with optimum grip. So you want to have as much grip as possible, good conditions, all right. Possibly high downforce, so maybe don't go at Monza, but maybe you can go at Spa, for example. So let's go at Spa on hot stint, and you'll see why. Actually, you can even go at hot lap, and you'll see why. Okay, and let's go at Spa. Cool. And let's go in. Yes, Janut, I had 1081. It's okay. For 1 degree, we can close an eye. Okay, so we go in. You get your good setup, or possibly the aggressive setup, and you go to drive. Now, while you're driving, watch your force feedback bar that you can see on the HUD down at the right part of the screen, on the bottom right of the screen. All right. Now, obviously, as you're driving around, you can see the force feedback bar gray, obviously becoming higher. Okay, and at some point it's going to clip, and when it clips, it becomes red, like when I go over the curbs. You see, it clips a little bit. Oops. Yeah, because I went outside and it disqualifies me. No worries. Okay, so it clips a little bit, and it becomes red. Why you want to be on optimum grip high downforce, possibly in hot lap, where you get the tires at perfect temperature and pressure while you cross the start-finish line, because this is when you're gonna get the maximum forces from the steering, from the tires, from the physics. And maximum forces means maximum force feedback forces as well. And obviously, if you go on the Orus, which is all this deep and high, you're gonna get as much force as possible from the tires. So you go in there, you see it clips quite a bit, okay, and it become red for the whole duration of the Orus. So what we are trying to understand, and what is clipping? What is clipping? Here's what's happening. As we said, the tires generate lateral forces, realignment forces, all that stuff. We get this from the from the tires. We move that into the leverage of the suspension geometry. Okay. And once we have made all the calculations, we get that final force and we send it to the driver. Okay, we send it to the driver. Now, obviously, the simulation understands, because the driver says, I can get forces from 0 to 100%. Okay. Okay. I can get forces from 0 to 100%. So, if the forces arriving are more than 100%, the simulator understands this and knows that it clips. It means that I'm sending 110%, but I know that the driver will not make the difference. It will arrive at 100%, and then it will be flat. If you go up to 110, 120, it won't give you more force, the driver. It will flatten out everything at 100%. Okay? That's why it becomes red. It gives you an indication that the forces arriving to the driver are going over the maximum force that the driver is possible to give you. Which means that you are going to lose some information. So you are, having some force driving, and you're getting still to feel some force, some torque to your hand, say, 5 Newton meters, and you are already at 100%. At some point, you hit the curb, whatever, and the force goes up to 100 and 10%, and you should get 5.5 Newton meters, but the driver says, I can't give that, and so you stay at 5 Newton meters as before. So nothing has changed. This is what clipping means. That is what clipping means. It's an indication for you, the player, that the game is producing even more forces, but your driver cannot reproduce them on your physical steering wheel. Okay? So every time you clip, it means that you're losing some extra information. Is that clear, guys? Do you need some extra explanation of that? I want to know if everything is clear for you, and then move on to explain how you can get back that information. Okay? No, as I said, turn down centering spring. Centering spring it's different than generic spring. And you can verify that. We said how. Okay. Exactly. So Dr. Respect already knows what follows. Okay, so how to deal with clipping, and what are the advantages and disadvantages of dealing with clipping. Okay. So to deal with clipping, you go back to your game, into your options, controls, and you start to lower the amount of forces that you send to your steering wheel drivers and steering wheel physical. Okay, so let's go down to something like 80%. Okay, so we go down to 80%. Now, what is going to happen? Well, obviously, you cannot lower just the high end of the forces. You're gonna lower all the forces. So if you send 5 Newton meters, okay, if you're sending 10 Newton meters of force and you go down to 80%, you're gonna get 80 Newton meters. But it's also true that if you are, getting 1 Newton meter because you are just turning just a tiny little bit, then by going down to 80%, you're also gonna get 0.8 Newton meters. Okay, so you're gonna lower by 20% everywhere into the whole force feedback, which means that yes, you are going to eliminate the clipping and get some extra information when you are hitting some very wild curves, but you're also gonna get a much lighter steering wheel everywhere, which in a direct drive is not a problem, because in direct drive you have so much force that you can turn it up into the driver and be fine with it. But in a consumer wheel, an old Logitech or an old Thrustmaster or whatever, this starts to be a problem because there's not enough force on the steering wheel. So if you are even lowering it even more, the steering wheel gonna be, even smoother and smoother and smoother and less and less and less powerful, which you might like or might not like. Okay, so there are advantages and disadvantages of this. So let's see what happens now. We went down by 80%, and let's restart and see what happens. So let's go back, same condition as before. Let's see if the force feedback, again on the bottom right of the steering of the screen in the HUD, let's see if it clips again as much as before. So we go back here, a little bit of clipping, but not that much. You see, not even, whoops, disqualified again because I was watching on the force feedback bar. So let's go back again. Come on, Ferrari, I know you have a long first gear, but you can do it. Yes. So let's go over there. Up on the curbs. Just a hint of clipping. No clipping at all. You see, we went over the big curb on this side and no clipping at all. So we eliminated clipping over there. Let's see at the roost what happens. No clipping here. No clipping here again. Let's go inside the roost and see. Before we had a lot of clipping, maybe now we're gonna have less clipping. Obviously the steering wheel is lighter now. Yes, we have a little bit of clipping, not as much as before. Not as much as before, okay? So, again, as I said, everything we do into a simulator and in real life as well is a compromise. Everything is a compromise. We now have less clipping, and that means we get a wider range of effects, but all the effects are lower in force. So the force is lower, which means that sometimes you might not even feel them because everything has less difference between them. But the advantage is that when you hit very hard the curb, you feel that spike better. Now, why I'm saying this is an advantage, and there isn't something that I can tell you it's the perfect setting. Is it, and again, we're talking about consumer steering wheels, which their force is limited. Is it important for you to feel the big spike of force when you are going over the biggest curb of the whole circuit? Okay, and you can see the whole car and the whole cockpit moving up and down like crazy, and you can hear the suspension going bang, boom, bang, because a crash and everything, and the vibrations of the cockpit and everything. Is it as important for you to understand that you are over that big curb because you feel that extra spike, or maybe it doesn't really matter and you prefer feeling in more force the subtle changes of the grip, but you are clipping because you're already very high on the forces. You are clipping when you are going over that curb. What is more important for you? That's the thing. You have a hardware that is limited, so you have to make a decision and a compromise. So what is more important for you? Is it important for you to feel that big spike on the curb, or just feel a generic spike on the curb and then feel more a vibration or a bump on the road, or the loss of grip, and so on and so on? So this is clipping. Okay? Clipping practically takes your whole force feedback response and move it up and down. And while you move it up, at some point it just gets flattened out because your hardware cannot give more. Okay? So is it important for you? This is your choice. I cannot give you a specific advice on that. Nobody else can give you a specific advice on that. It's your personal choice. So you have to understand that there is no perfect choice of that. You have a limited hardware and you need to make the best you can out of your hardware. So you have to decide what is more important for you. Is it important to feel a good range of forces into all the turns of Spa except Aarhus? Or is it more important to feel the whole ranges of force inside Aarhus and then feel less subtle effects into all the turns of Spa? That's your decision. So this is how clipping works and how you have to set it up for the consumer. Now, for the direct drive, it's much more easier. Any kind of direct drive, or even some steering wheels that they are not direct drive, but they have very, very strong electric motors. So for the non-direct drive, and I think everybody's, so for direct drive, my advice, and I think everybody's advice, is go low with the gain. Go to something like 50. Okay, go to something like 50. Start from 50, and then from the steering wheel, or for the driver of the steering wheel, it's the same. Start cranking up the power of your steering wheel up to the point that you like it. With a 50% gain into the game, I can assure you that it's going to be impossible, practically impossible, to clip the signal. So you're always going to have the full range of the signal, and then you turn up the power of the steering wheel. There is plenty of power, and you get plenty of range without clipping. And that's not the only reason as well. But generally, the more power you give from the drivers or from the knobs of the steering wheel, the more electricity you put into your direct drive. And the more electricity, the more power you put into your direct drive, the better it reacts, faster, with more dynamic range. Everything is better for that. So for such kind of steering wheels, go to the middle or even lower. Some people even use, you have the direct drive too, and you can use easily 35 or 40% of gain. There is no way on earth that you're gonna clip with such low gain, but you can have all the power you needed from the steering wheel, because direct drive has plenty of power to give. Okay? Alright, so this is clipping. Next thing, okay, stop. Is all clear? Questions about that? Let me see. All clear? Waiting for the lag of the live stream to catch. Let's see. All right. Okay. Keep in mind, guys, I am going to cut all the all this hour and post it separately as single live stream about force feedback. Okay. Mid-Augas says, seems counterintuitive. If most of the weight is at the back, why would force feedback feel so strong going flat out? I think you have the things mixed up. What is force feedback giving you? It cannot. Force feedback comes from the front wheels. It cannot get anything from the rear wheels. It's not connected. All the force feedback is coming from the front wheels. Even when the car goes sideways, okay, the front suspension should be properly tuned to counter steer alone to follow the yaw momentum rotation of the car, of the body. So even if the rear is sliding around, the wheel counter steers alone because the front wheels and the suspension is made in a way to catch the slide. So everything you feel and you should feel from the steering wheel comes always from the front wheels. The rear wheels have nothing to do about it. Nothing. If you think it like this, you'll see why it's not counterintuitive. Actually, your way of thinking was counter in this example. Guido, no, esattamente il contrario. Abbiamo appena spiegato. Guido. Fabio, abbiamo appena detto che non esiste il best force feedback. Anyway, we just said it. There is no best. Porsche oscillations. The Porsche oscillations is because the car wants to rotate. Do you remember the Hammer example? The car wants to rotate. So because the rear wants to rotate and overtake the front end, obviously it's going to oscillate, and the front wheels trying to stay straight, while the body rotates, obviously they oscillate. Which brings us to the where am I? Sorry. Which brings us to the fourth thing I want to talk about. I don't know if I can make it. Where am I? Here I am. Which is check dampening. Check dampening of the driving. I think I have erased a chat message without wanting by error, so sorry about that. Nixos, yeah, sorry, I've erased your message, but it was completely by error. Okay, so Babaji, do you have a console? Because we said that in the console, unfortunately, you have to set the steering angle on the old consoles per car basis. If you don't have a console, there's something is wrong into your configuration. If you have a PC, it should work. If it doesn't work, something is wrong in your configuration, hands down. Alright, so dampening. What is dampening? I've talked about that into version 1.8 update live stream, but let's see this again. Okay? So dampening means that if you set, as we said, all the sliders, okay, also the damper, all the sliders into, and the damper slider as well, into your driver at 100%. For the Logitech, for example, you don't have to do that because it's already set up and it doesn't give you the driver, it doesn't give you the slider, but it is there already. So you set up, you let alone the Logitech as it is, and in the Thrustmaster you put the damper at 100%. Okay. Once you have done this, you go in game and you set up your, at least you leave your damper at 50%. Okay, as it is normally. So you leave it over there at 50%, and then all you have to do is pick a normal car, not a car with lots of rear. I mean, pick whatever car you want, but usually, at least for starters, you pick a normal car with normal weight distribution, maybe the Aston Martin or the new BMW, something like that, or whatever. And you have to go into the straights. Now, first of all, normally, if everything is, all the sliders are set up correctly, then when you move around your steering wheel while stopped, you should feel a slight friction on your steering wheel. Okay, but you should also feel a slight friction when you are moving on the straight. So you go to something like 150 kilometers per hour, and you need to just move your steering wheel a little bit like this at constant speed, and it should oscillate a little bit and then go straight, and you should feel just a little bit of friction. Okay, this is very important. Now, I've seen many people driving with the steering wheel that you just move it just a little bit like that. You just move it a little bit and then it starts oscillating like crazy and it spins the car around. Let's leave aside for a moment some specific cars like the Honda NSX or the Porsche 911, which have a lot of, they want to rotate a lot, so that might confuse you. So you might not want to deal with those cars immediately. So go into the Aston Martin, for example, or into the Ferrari, or into the Bentley, normal cars in terms of weight distribution, and try that. So it's even easier if you go to Monza, which has the long straights. So let's go hot stint at Monza, for example, like this. Here we go.
Alright mate, this session is about consistency. Try to be fast, but don't push it too much over the limit.
So you go up to something like 150 kilometers per hour. You just do that, and the car should go straight, like this. So if you use the default values from Assetto Corsa Competizione, it should work like that. Okay. If your sliders are not set up correctly, so for example, you might have the sliders of the damper down to 0, or you might have a profile that doesn't point exactly to Assetto Corsa executable file, so it messes up and your damper is 0, then you're gonna have a situation like this. So let's find here the damper and switch it off. Okay, like that. So now I don't have any damper from the driver, the physical driver of the physical steering wheel. So I'll go to 150. Look at this. I didn't want to touch it because the direct drive is really fast. So all I need to do is just touch it, and it started going left and right like crazy, right? So see again on inside the screen. This time I was a professional driver. I wanted to show you the steering wheel. I wanted to show you the physical steering wheel, how it turned around, and look at it, how fast it moves. It really rotates. Let me go back again here. Look at this. It rotates like that. It has no friction at all. No friction at all. So let's go back in game now and show you also in game how it reacts. Okay. And this time, yeah, for once I wanted to do that. So again, into the game. Look at this. This is crazy. Whoa. It has no friction at all, which means that when you are, steering and maybe the rear end comes around, it's very easy for you to counter steer because there's no friction. It's very easy for you to move around, but it's also not stable. It doesn't give you stability. Look at that. I mean, can you see the steering wheel? Let me show you. Like this. Look at the virtual steering wheel, alright? Even though the car is damaged. I mean, look at this. What is this? And many people are driving like that. And they don't feel the stability of the car, and they complain that the car turns around and it is unstable and it oscillates a lot and so on and so on. So what you need to do is you need to put up the damper of your driving slider and put also up the damper inside the options. Okay, so let's go back again and start. So I've put it now into the steering wheel at 100, and you can also exaggerate the situation in order to understand that, now you feel, you see, it really is very dampened right now. You can really feel the difference. It's so dampened that it actually doesn't even go back to the straight as fast as before. So if you exaggerate that, it means that if you need to, counter steer, then you're going to have, problems. It's way too much friction. Okay, so you need to find out the compromise between free movement so that you can steer around, okay, but also stability. Let's go up to 100, even 200 kilometers. Look at this. This is stability. You see? You see? Look at how the steering wheel is just stays straight. So again, this is a compromise, but I can assure you that if you try it and put the damper slider at 100 and play a little bit also with the damper inside the options here, this one damper, you will start to feel a much more stable car, which also brings us to the fact that the setup, the car behavior, the handling, it's all in our minds. It's not something that it is, I get the setup from another guy that is faster. Yes, might be, might not. But just changing the settings of the steering wheel, it will make you feel the car different, more stable or less stable in the turn. So, because you need the feedback to understand what is going on, right? Okay. So this is how it works mainly, the damper, and this is how it works, the clipping. Again, is that clear? Is this clear? Richard, come on, we have talked about that. Every single live stream we talk about that. The information is out there. We are talking about force feedback. You need to make the question for you. We have talked about that thousands of times. And you can even think about it yourself if you think about it. It's really easy. Okay. All right. So, you have set up your sliders. You have set up the clipping. And you have set up the dampening, and you are sure by the verifications that we did, and you need to do the verifications, that everything works correctly, right? Everything goes correctly. What is the next step? Well, the next step here, okay, so what is the next step that you need to do. And this is the final step. Then the tweaks start. So the next step here is set and forget. This is the next step. And it is extremely important. Set and forget. What I mean by this, you have verified that the steering wheel does all the things that we said it should do. 1, the steering angle is correct. 2, the clipping is correct, more or less, and you feel everything you need. 3, the dampening is correct. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. All those things are set up. What should you do? But I don't feel the car correctly. I don't like the car. I don't feel. Set and forget. Drive the damn thing. Drive the fucking thing for at least 2 weeks or 3, depending on whatever are your muscle memory and practice sessions. Depends if you can drive every day or if you drive once a week or whatever, I don't know. But drive the damn thing and don't change anything. Do not change it. Why? Because you need to build the muscle memory, and muscle memory means that your brain starts to understand the feedback it gets from the wheel through your hands and reacts by giving to your hands the correct inputs to control the car. The first day it's going to be might be terrible or so, whatever. The second day might be a little bit better. The third day it's going to be okay. The fourth day it's going to be fantastic. You need to build muscle memory. You need to try things. You need to drive. You need to try different things in driving, but not change values. If you keep on changing values, trying to find out the perfect setup, because you are not able to control the car, because other people are faster than you, because whatever, you are going to fail miserably. Trust me, it's almost, actually yes, it's more than 2 decades of active online sim racing career. Okay, 2 decades. And the only problem between for the performance, for the drive, it's the only problem is between the steering wheel and the driving seat. It's this guy here. That's the problem. This guy here. Your brain is the problem. Let your brain understand the language. How do you learn a new language? You go to possibly to the country and you go full immersion and you learn the language properly. And yet, how do you do with your real car? Do you like the steering wheel in your real car? Well, maybe initially not that much, but then you get used to it. Amazing concept, you get used to it, and then it's perfect. You cannot change it in real life, that's it. What do you want to do? That's it. How do you change things into the simulator? Oh, but of course, I will change all the sliders I can see everywhere. Change the sliders every day, every hour, every time. Ask the sliders from my friend. Ask the sliders from my community. Ask any kind of setup and force feedback setup and sliders I can get and change it every week until I get the perfect configuration, which I cannot even define. Again, make an honest question to yourself. Can you define what the perfect force feedback is for you? You cannot. It does not exist. What is the perfect force feedback? You cannot. All right? So, set and forget for at least 2 weeks. Drive the damn thing. Let your brain understand. Once your brain has understood, okay, and you get some muscle memory and you can control the car, okay, especially if you can do consistent lap times, okay, especially if you can do consistent lap times, then you can fine-tune. Fine-tune doesn't mean you change everything and restart. because your brain is going to be, I mean, it's like if I start talking to you right now in Italian, some of you might understand me. If I start talking in Greek, a couple of you might understand me. And I will still be telling you the same things, but you cannot understand. This is the exact same thing that happens to your brain every time you change all the parameters trying to find out the perfect something, which doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. So it's a mentality thing, okay? Now, you might say, well, I tried it, I don't like it. Now I understand the car, because I can assure you, you're gonna understand the car, but I don't like it. That's perfectly fine. That is the indication for you to say, you know what, I tried it for 2 or 3 weeks, I understand what the car does, I can do consistent lap times, I just don't like it, I hate it. Fine, my friend, change simulator, go somewhere else, change car, whatever, and my congrats to you, because you have an opinion and you have a personal preferences, and it is fine. It's perfectly acceptable, it's wonderful. This is fine. But don't change values to whatever sim you like every day, every week, trying to find something that doesn't exist even in your head. Okay? So you have done everything. You like the car, you like the performance, you like the configuration, everything works pretty good, okay? And you're like, I would like to fine-tune. What we mean by fine-tune? Fine-tune means changing a tiny little bit of specific things at a time. Not everything, but changing just a tiny little bit things at a time. So, for example, I'll give you a very exaggerated example to make you understand what I mean. So let's have a go. So let's take the Ferrari, which has a specific suspension geometry that helps what we're going to show. So many people say, you know what, yeah, everything is good, I like it, okay, but I would like that when I steer and I arrive at the limit of the front end grip, then the steering wheel goes very soft, and that gives me an indication that I am over the limit of the front end grip, because for whatever reason with my eyes I cannot predict that the car goes wide. I need some force feedback. That's fine. It's all on the physics, on the suspension geometry. So you go into the setup, go here, and I am exaggerating right now. Let's get the caster down to 5. Very, very low number for a rear wheel drive car, especially one that has less weight at the front. So now let's go again and driving the Ferrari. You will instantly notice that there is much less let's go in, much less steering force, and you can also see it from the force feedback bar at the bottom right of the screen. Now when I will go into the turn and do this, you can see that I got disqualified again. So you can see that instantly the steering wheel became practically very, very light, and at some point it even wanted to steer more by itself. Instead of having opposite force and counter steering, the steering wheel became so light that it wanted to steer all by itself and go to lock. Okay, let's stay into here. You see, it wants to go like that. Now obviously you cannot feel it, but it does exactly this. Okay, so when you go to the peak of the grip, at that point you go a little bit more and you feel the total loss of force feedback almost, and actually the steering wheel wants to rotate even more. Let's do it here. Let's go into, you see, it just wants to, you see that it wanted to rotate. Now it wasn't into, you have to go into understeer, right? So let's try this here at the Curva Grande. Let's see if we can update it. We cannot do it. It's still too. Let's try here. You see, it just turns around completely. It doesn't want to counter steer. So this is a very exaggerated effect that you can achieve with very low caster. Now you might say, well, I like the effect, but unfortunately the steering has become so light that I don't enjoy it anymore, and my gain is at 100%. My slider is at 100%. What can I do? Okay, I just don't like it. Well, we still have a solution for you, and it's also a very nice solution, because if you go to your numerical keypad in your keyboard, you can press keys 8 and 2, and you can see here user force feedback set to 1.8, 10, 11, so on. This raises even more the gain for this specific car. And the next, it also saves it, so the next time you go in there, it also it will keep your specific value for this car. Okay, so I can raise it up quite a bit here, okay, up to 1.5, which is maximum, and now I still have power, and you can see also the force feedback that it moves around more. And I also still have the effect of when I'm going up to the limit, then it just wants to rotate alone, okay, into the inside of the tire. So there are things you can do like that. Again, I remind you, number 8 and number 2, user force feedback set for specific car, and it keeps memory of every setting you did for this specific car. Of course, it works also in the opposite way. So some people say, well, yes, the Ferrari has very nice handling, but I don't like it because the steering wheel becomes very light when I go over the limit. I would like the steering wheel to be more, strong always. Well, just pull up the caster into, now I will exaggerate it into something very high. I will exaggerate it, just go maximum. Drive it again, and now you will see that the steering wheel, even if I go into full understeer, it will not want to rotate alone. It will want to counter steer like this. So now I'm going like that, you go like this, full, and it wants to go back. You see? It goes to go back like that. It counter steers alone. And if you say, well, yes, I did that, but now the force feedback is way too high, because look at that, it clips right away, no problem. Numerical keypad, key 2, and I'm going down to 0 point something, whatever. It goes really low, and now I have no clipping at all, but still the behavior is the same. You see, it wants to counter steer even at complete understeer situations. So there you have it. This is fine tuning. It also, obviously, you will say, but Aris, changing the caster also changes the setup of the car. I know, but sometimes I'm not telling you to do such exaggerated changes, but you can play with the caster, still maintain your setup handling characteristics, and change also the steering wheel characteristics, feedback characteristics as well. So this is fine tuning. Other fine tunings you can do. Let's go to the options this time. You can still play a little bit with the gain. You can still play a little bit with the damper. Okay. For some wheels, you have the minimum force. What does that mean? Some wheels, like for example, the best example is the old Logitech wheels, G27, G29. They have a lot of dead zone around the center. Not steering dead zone. Doesn't mean that if you steer it 1 degree, nothing happens to the wheels. So the wheels still work around, okay, so the wheels still turn, but you have dead zone of the force feedback. So you steer it at like 1 degree left or right, and the steer has no force feedback, is completely zero. Okay, it's completely zero. To fix this problem of the mechanical problem of the steering wheel, you can raise the minimum force, and in the Logitech wheel you can go up to 12%, even 15% on some occasion, and that means that it brings the force feedback reactions much closer to zero. So even with an old Logitech wheel, you just move the wheel around a little bit and you instantly gain some force feedback right from the zero. For some older Thrustmaster, the same thing is somewhere around 4-6%, something like that. Don't overdo it, because if you overdo it, then you're gonna get a step on the force feedback, which means that as soon as you go over the 0 degrees, instead of having a small increase in force feedback, you're going to have a big increase, and that means your steering wheel will oscillate like crazy around the center, like that, and you don't want that, obviously. So yeah. So this is it. This is mainly how to force feedback. So again, I remind you guys, perfect force feedback doesn't exist. Nobody can say with certainty what are the characteristics of the perfect force feedback. It doesn't exist. Okay? So what you really want to do is learn the language between the force feedback and your brain. And to do so, first of all, you need to take care and verify that your steering wheel works properly. Okay, so go back to all the verifications we talked about that. All right? And once you have done that, set it, make sure that everything works properly so that you have the same configuration like everybody else. Again, guys, this is a mentality problem of all gamers. Someone has a problem, the first thing that goes through their mind is, oh, that's a bug of the game. It might happen, but before thinking about that, go around and see. Do you see hundreds of thousands of people complaining about that bug, or do you see a couple of people, 10 people, even if they are 3 of your friends having the same bug? If you see only 3 of your friends and 10 or 20 people shouting about in the forums, then almost always 90% of the cases, the problem is in your configuration. So first try to solve out the problem in your configuration, because if hundreds of thousands, in some occasions millions of users do not cry out that there is a big issue with the game, and it happens only into 10 people, 20 people, 100 people, then that's an indication that it's not a bug of the software, but it is a problem of your configuration. I had one guy, telling me I don't have the perfect graphics, and hopefully this guy was not saying that it was a bug of the game, because it could see that everybody else was not having issues with the graphics, and we found out that it was actually an issue of the drivers of the graphics card, and you need to fix it. So instead of starting, oh, that's a bug in the game, first make sure and verify that your configuration is correct and works at the same way as almost everybody else. Okay. Once you are certain about that and you have fixed all the configuration, then stick to it. Make your brain understand the language after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then fine tune. Underlining fine tune. This is how you FFB. Hope you liked it, guys. Let me know if there are questions. By the way, I think I talk as usual way too much, and probably I won't be able to join the race tonight. Let's see. NHF 1185 says force feedback feels good on one car, not good on another car. Is that a problem of my force feedback setup or just a consequence of the suspension of the cars, etc.? It is a consequence of the suspension of the cars, etc., and obviously how you understand those cars, handling. All cars have completely different suspensions and different handling. And you might like one car and you might not like another car. So yeah, that's how what happens. Let's see if we can join the server. Can we join the server? Probably not. Yeah, I mean, Kim Lay says, thank you, this is gold, thank you very much. Why not put this information into the game? How? As you see, we needed 1 hour and a half of video explaining things. How can you put that in? And unfortunately, we have also another problem. The problem is that unfortunately we need to translate all that stuff in multiple languages if it goes officially into the game. And it's not easy, nor possible, because there are plenty of technical terms. I have worked with translators, and you practically need to make them a full course of vehicle handling and sim racing and stuff like that to let them start understand how they can deal with all the technical terms, and then maybe understand and find out how to explain them. It's not easy. I'm trying to fix the pressures here. 6. I don't even know what to do. I haven't done a single lap. We didn't talk about dynamic damping, Psycho Baldi, because I honestly advise you, this was a basic course on force feedback, and I advise you to let it alone as it is. Don't change dynamic damping. Change just the damping, make sure it works. Also, dynamic damping mainly works when the car is stopped, and then when it moves around, it does what it has to do, but it's subtle, it doesn't really changes everything. Don't bother much with that. No, the drift on the Fanatic wheel is something different. It is how the damping changes when you try to counter steer. It's quite a good thing. Fine tune and play with that, keep it low. Practically you can have a lot of damping, which makes the car pretty stable, and then when you try to counter steer or go from one way to another, it disables or lowers the damping in that movement, exactly in that movement. It's a good thing. It has many different names in many different steering wheels. For example, now they call it how do they call it now? They call it natural friction. They don't call it drift anymore, they call it natural friction on the direct drive. In Simukube they call it something else, they also have multiple sliders for that. So every steering wheel calls it in another way, but this is advanced information you really have. If you go over there, it means you are a power user, you need to find out what to do by searching. Mercedes is different, not completely different, but it's different. No, dynamic damping, I highly suggest to leave it at 100% as it is. We could work around for more advanced settings, but at that point we will have to talk about its steering wheel separately, which is going to be a hassle for me, changing steering wheels and so on. We'll see if we can do something. Okay, so I have no idea what to do here. Maybe I will raise a little bit the preload. Now with the version 1.8 you can raise a little bit the preload. It works better. Comments about loot file. If you know how to use it, it's fine. It's good. It's good. But you have to know what it does and how to use it. Rod effects, personally, Andrea, I would avoid them. Non usarli più. You don't need them anymore because with the version 1.8, the whole force feedback, movements have become quite important. So I don't think you need them anymore, the rod effects. So you just put them down to 0, because otherwise you are, covering up with effects the natural response of the steering wheel. Alright, session has ended. I haven't done a single lap. I'm going to start last. I talk too much, guys. I talk too much. Lozanov is behind me. He's gonna go through me. So we have 30 minutes. I don't even know how much fuel I have to put. Let's go down to whatever. At least I have free. I have the tire set is good. Okay, let's go down to 60 and hope for the best. Yes, light guy. Yeah, no worries, Andrea. Yeah, absolutely. Dumpers. I have no idea. I don't know what I'm doing, guys. and the temperature is even lower. I'll go up too. No, I'm in the safe preset. What the fuck? Aggressive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 40 is good. I don't know. Let's hope for the better. Yeah, I'm using the dice. The dice, yeah. Tires are more expensive since the update. Let me say it's out to everybody. And yeah. Can FFB settings? No, FFB settings do not contribute at all to the car handling. Whatever you do in the force feedback, it doesn't contribute to the car handling, but they give you different inputs, and that might help you or not on how you deal with under or oversteer, which means that if you feel something different, you're gonna react differently, and you might feel that the car doesn't understeer or understeer more, or doesn't oversteer or oversteers more than before, even though you have touched nothing on the setup of the car. Okay? Oh my god, the area is so low. Let's go up. It's gonna be terrible here. I don't know what I'm doing. It's gonna be terrible. Stuck on qualifying. No, I think I've put 2 or 3 minutes of qualifying. Hopefully. Let's wait. Otherwise, blame Andy. Let's see. Blame Andy. Boring. Hello, Francesco. Can we do a racing on the mountain? Yeah, we can do a Mount Panorama. Yeah, here we go. And another 4 minutes. Wonderful, wonderful. Let's raise this up to 80. Hope for the best. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. Sever de la gleb. Oh my god, I've been talking for 1 hour. Aris waits. Andy, did you ban and kicked out anybody that went out and in from the server to reset the tires? Why is Porsche hard to drive? There is a video I have on my channel. It's the title is "Understand Your Car" or something like that, which explains why some cars handle in a way different than others. Okay. So thanks, mate. So the Porsche having all the weight at the rear, practically the rear wants to overtake. There is a very good example with the Hammer. I don't have the video right now, but yeah, search it. You're gonna find, and yeah. It's interesting. No, that wasn't natural damper. Gobnet, thank you so much, buddy. Thanks so much. Entry fee for Lambo team for 9 hours Chialamia 110. What do you want exactly? I won't be racing on the 9 hours Chialami. I wasn't in the mood. I was a little bit down and sad, and I didn't find any co-drivers, so I won't be racing. I just retired the team as well. But thank you so much for the support. And if you will be racing, I will support you on the chat and bring people to your channel. 45, you think? I will go down to 50 then. I hope you're right. Oh, Tortellini missed the race. Maybe you can still join. Try it, Tortellini. Try it. Support people using cheat. You should be ashamed. It's okay. It's a good race for fun and support.
30 seconds.
Jay Bliss, well, first of all, I'm sorry. Second of all, you were probably using some techniques that weren't realistic in your driving style. You need to get back and force yourself to learn proper driving techniques. So don't use too much steering wheel, modulate the brakes properly. It will take some time, unfortunately, but if you are fast, it means that you do the proper lines, you do the proper braking, you do the proper, it all comes down to understand how to use your steering inputs at this point and be more precise, use less steering than before. I'm confident that with a little bit of time, sorry, you're gonna end up as you were before.
No time vision. Stay clear of the curves.
Ah, look at them, how close they are. Oh my god. Oof. Zinetta looks... Ah, look at that, it's really, really nice. If I can handle the Ginetta, then I will go into full immersion mode. Ah! Let's out of. It's so cold, I cannot heat up the tires. The car is so light as well. Suzuka is amazing. The only thing that bothers me with Suzuka is that there is no grip. Actually, we probably have even more grip than in reality over here. We need to test it again. In reality, the car is very, very slippery. The drivers always complain at Suzuka. And that bothers me because if that track would have, you know, proper grip, it would be really amazing to drive. Oh my god. It takes some. I mean, for people that, you know, they were driving already in a realistic way, I think the 1.8 rewards them with better lap times and better consistency. For people that they were exploiting a little bit the physics with their driving, I'm not saying that they were doing that, you know, on purpose. Some yes or no, it doesn't matter. For whatever reason, they had found a way to be faster by driving over the physics with 1.7. In 1.8 they have problems and issues, but again, it will take a little bit of time. They will be as fast as before. I'm completely confident about that. So don't worry too much, guys. You'll see that it will be fine. Alright, here we are, guys. I have no idea what is going to happen. I don't know. I don't know how to brake, how to accelerate. It's gonna be terrible. But let's try to have fun. Besides, I need to be careful initially to not go over the curbs and stuff like that. And then we have the second race, which might be better for us. Oh! What is this BMW doing?
Green light.
Let's go! And goodbye, Maserati.
Car on the left. Clear on the left.
Guys, stop going too wide. I cannot pass. Oh my god. Okay, we've managed to do it. Oh, where are we going? You see, for example, the Ginetta has a very communicative front end. It really tells you when you have more grip at the front or less grip. So it's really good.
Car on the right. Clear on the right. Car on the right. Clear on the right.
My god! Oh!
Car on the right. Clear on the right.
Get the slipstream of the Audi. Come on. I don't know how to approach this one.
Car on the right. Clear on the right.
All right. I'm getting excited. Should we go full immersion? Let's go full immersion. Yeah. I don't care about pressures, whatever. Oh, just drive. Wow, look at the colors of the sky, amazing. Ooh. This Aston has issues. Yeah, big issues, poor guy. Maybe damage. Oh, too much, Aris. I overestimated the grip amounts of the Ginetta. Oh. And I forgot that I am right-hand drive. What a car. It really has amazing amounts of neutral handling and grip. You can feel the tires vibrating at high speeds now. That's an Alpine. I think we can get the slipstream of the Alpine, maybe. Or maybe not. Ooh, he went wide. Let's go.
Car on the left. Clear on the
Yes. Ah, the lights come on at Suzuka. Wonderful. Oh, bit of oversteer there over the curb. It's a very short car. The wheelbase is very short. So you need to take into account that. Great handling, but it can be a little bit more tricky than normal. Oh, look at this, there's so much grip into the middle of the turn. There's so much to explore. Can we make it to P10? Vibrations. Wow, so nice. Very nice.
I don't make the fastest lap so far.
You need to play a lot with the pedals on this car. Because it's so light and so short in wheelbase, it's very sensitive in the pedals work. So you just give a little bit more gas or less, a little bit more brake or less, and it instantly changes the handling. So you go from over to understeer, but it's all predictable, it's all easy for the driver. You just work around it, however better it suits you, you know. In I go. Woo. So fast. It's so fast into the hairpin. The hairpin is like a Miata, you know, you just send it and it sticks into the ground and goes. It's like following bigger cars into the mountain roads with the Miata, where, you know, everybody struggles with the weight and just trying to put down the amounts of power that they have. In the meantime, the Miata is just changing gears and going flat out everywhere. And everybody's like, what the fuck are you doing? But the damn car just sticks. Fantastic. Oh, too much. And then you just overdo it like that. Lozanov is behind me, and I'm pretty sure he's going to overtake me at some point. He's so fast. Maybe he's waiting at the last minute. Or maybe you can have a great duel and then put it on the duels in the playlist of the channel. Look at the BMW arriving from behind. I mean, Lozanov is faster than me, and yet into those turns I managed to go away from him.
Yellow flag, watch out.
That car is so fast. It's amazing. Every time I full send it, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna end up really wide, and it just sticks. Incredible. Let's go. Oh. Yeah, it's a little bit nervous now. Maybe the tires are start giving up a little bit, I don't know.
Yellow flag ahead, be careful. Slow car ahead.
Oh, my bad, my bad.
Light damage on the front of the car.
My bad. Sorry.
Car on the right. Clear on the right.
That was it, or the other BMW. Who was it? I don't remember. Ah, I'm so stupid. I hope it was the guy in front of me. Ah, I'm so mad with myself. Does anybody remember who the car was? Anyway, I will let pass also that BMW here.
Car on the left. Clear on the left.
It wasn't that. It was the other BMW. Okay, let's go catch them then. Oh, the other one. Bad driving. Anyway, we're trying to understand the car now, so it doesn't matter. First race, it's gonna be like that. Oh, come on, Aris. I'm watching the chat instead of driving.
Way through. Keep pushing.
Not a very good example tonight. How much time left? Oh, we're almost halfway. Jesus. Wake up!
Falling behind the car in front in sector 2.
Okay, let's get back to proper driving. One gear up is definitely faster as well. Bono, my tires!
Brother man, this is me, Mercedes.
Let's go. Yeah, that's much better driving now. Too much chart reading, and this is not a track where you can really read the chart. There's always something going on. So you need to be a little bit more smooth. The fact that the car permits you to fool around and be aggressive, it doesn't mean you're also faster, so you need to be smoother with this car to, as with every car, to be fast enough. Smoother doesn't necessarily means no inputs, you know? You still have to fight the car, but you have to fight the car to keep the car smooth on the trajectory so that it doesn't lose grip and fool around. It's on. Oh, I went too wide. Too much. Whew. That wasn't good there.
Yellow flag in sector 1.
Whoa, Ha! No traction control for this poor Maserati. Listen to that engine. Yeah, slipstream. Come on.
Car on the left. Clear on the left.
Nah, too wide here. Ha! Oh, went wide myself as well. Come on, Aris. This is a true McDaddy. Oh, too much shot. Oh, that BMW is very close now. It's gonna get me on the straight.
Gaining on the car ahead in sector 2.
I think this guy is letting me go for the last lap or something. Ooh. Poor Alpine. So the Aston Martin in front of us is possible. I don't know the Porsche. I haven't been looking if I can close the gap with the Porsche or not. It's quite far ahead. It seems to be slow. I've gained like 2 seconds in 2 turns. Strange. Maybe he had an exit or something. Ooh. Huh. I'm still not used to the right-hand drive of this car. It's wider than what it looks. Ah, look at this BMW!
Well done, mate. The fastest lap so far.
Ooh, luckily the Ginetta can brake so much later than him. I don't know if he's doing it on purpose or he just can't afford to brake so late.
Slow car ahead.
Probably both. It's great because it seems that I'm gaining a lot here, and then on the back straight and on the start-finish straight, it gets back everything. It's also very good here, to be honest. It's also very good at the hairpin with that BMW. It's very good everywhere. Ah, it's so close, so close. Ah, he's waiting. Final lap. Already. Ah, he's gonna attack me now, I know. No, that wasn't this exit that I needed here. Oh my god, here he comes. Ooh, look at this, how fast! Maybe I can get that Aston. Look at how fast the Ginetta is on those turns. It's amazingly fast. Ooh. Need to be careful here because he's going to brake sooner than me. And I don't want to make another accident like before. It's so much faster accelerating. Oh, oversteer! Come on! Drifto! Takumi! Oh, he's coming. Oh, no fuel for that Ginetta. Ah, very nice.
Alright, race is over. Good job, mate. You did your best. Bring it back to the pits.
Wonderful. Ah, deja vu. Okay, so I need to ask to apologize to that guy. Stone slider, yes, absolutely. So I need to apologize to Meszaros, I think. So, yeah, sorry. Meszaros. I think I killed you at the hairpin. My bad. Yeah, I just braked way too late. I could do the turn, but obviously he goes inside the turn, so Why I don't play with VR? Because I'm working all day for long hours. I don't want to completely, alienate myself from the surroundings, and it wouldn't be so good for my for my health. I'm driving like at least 6 hours or 7 hours every day. So, racing over, wonderful, mate. Great, great. Great driving. I think we're gonna do a very nice the duels video. So what do we have here now? We have second race. Have to wait 4 minutes, whatever. Hope you enjoyed the race, guys. It was a little bit messy. I apologize for the terrible driving. Maybe on the second race I will have some, more practice and be better. Did you enjoy the first part of the live stream, of the first feedback? Was it useful for you guys? Let me know. Hello, Simbracers. Are we still back? Are we back again? Yeah, we're back. Yeah, we're back. We made it. It seems that having the PC full blown maximum and the Mac full blown and having the car charging at full electricity, all the amperes, at some point the central electricity panel of the house said, you know what, fuck you, and just everything went down. So okay, let's see if we can join back again. Yeah, we've made it. Let's see if I can join back the server for the second race. So lesson learned: don't start the charging of the car before finishing the live stream. Okay, server list. By Italian houses. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, man. Connect. Let's see if I can still make it. And I am in 30 seconds. I don't even know what I'm doing. Oh my god. Fuel, whatever. Oh, tires 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, 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 yes. Yeah. We made it, and I still have to
Stay single file.
to change the Streamlabs. My God, I won't make it. In game, welcome. Performance mode. Okay. No, no, the steering wheel. The steering wheel. Fuck. The steering wheel. The steering wheel was off. For fuck's sake. Okay. Options, controls. Yes, it works. It works. Let's go. I won't make it.
Stay away from curbs.
Come on, come on, come on, come on. 20 seconds. Ah! No, I won't make it. This is terrible. This is terrible. Oh, come on. Oh, for fuck's sake. Sad faces. The title is how to force feedback. No force feedback, nothing. Damn. Oh my god, what was that? Alright, we start last and way behind everybody. This race is cursed. I cannot do it anymore. Please help. Please help. Bring help. Let me join the Discord server of the guys, so maybe we can have some fun here at least. Blame Andy anyway. I should have, just go through it, completely cut everything. There is nobody in the pit lane radio. Saw the noises. Oh well, anyway. No investigation necessary. This is so sad. Oh my god. The chat goes crazy, completely crazy. I tried. I gave it my best. It wasn't enough. Sometimes it's just not enough, guys. Alright, let's see. I know I'm in third. But I cannot change it. I cannot change it down. What a night tonight. Professional YouTuber and whatever. Where is everybody? Come on. Oh. Finally. Finally. Ah, what a disaster. Ooh, dead bodies everywhere. Let's take it easy this time. Let's not be so stupid. I mean, enough stupidity for tonight, right? This must be one of the stupidest nights and live streams ever. The first part was great, I think. The second part was terrible, and the third part was absolute disaster. We have a drive-through. That was a limiter over there. No torque. Whee!
Car on the right. Clear on the right.
That Alpine let us pass away, so thanks for that, mate. Probably he got a little bit afraid by the Aston in front of me.
Slow car ahead.
That's a nice duel for the playlist. Ah, limiter. We are so close.
Car on the right.
Woo! Come on, come on, Zinetta. I cannot make the turn. Come on, little Zinetta. Oh, we're gonna hit up the limiter now. Again.
Well done, mate. This has been your personal best.
Okay, let's try again.
Car on the left.
Woo! Look at that Maserati!
Car on the right. Clear on the right.
Fantastic! It's fantastic.
Yellow flag ahead. Child in front.
Oh, that green slides over there. Oh, I was just following him, completely missed the turn. Bah. What was that? I did a Hamilton. No, he did a Hamilton. Come on, Aris. Keep it together. Why do I have all that stuff in my screen? Go away. That's it. That's more like it. Yeah, we need to focus. All right. Ding, 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 ding. The Aston is so big. I mean, I'm so small that I cannot see past through the Aston. Ooh. Whew. To remove the HUD, accept the information there, press and keep pressing F2. It's a long F2 press.
Car on the left.
Ooh, that was close. Look at this. He's just going away.
Clear on the left.
Ooh. All right. I need to stay extra clean with this guy because I killed him on the race before. And I don't want to do the same mistake now. It would be stupid and terrible.
We are at the halfway mark. Still a long way to go. Car on the right. Clear on the right. Car on the left. Clear on the left.
Good move by the Aston. Fantastic race.
Car on the right.
Oh. Where are we? Come on, guys. Don't know exactly what happened there. I thought I was on my side, but who cares? Amazing. Let's do it. Oh, he went wide. Too much pressure. Thank you very much. I'll take this. I love those moments. Too much tofu.
Clear on the left.
Come on, Ginetta! Come on! Do something! Nothing happens.
Car on the left. Clear on the left.
Sometimes you have to be a little bit aggressive. And just send it. And this is exactly what you have to do if you want to make sure you don't miss my live stream. So spin the like button and hit aggressively on the subscribe button. Oh, that was really, really cringy, right? But yeah, do that because I appreciate it, and you help also the growth of the channel. So make sure to hit subscribe.
Car on the right. Clear on the right.
And there we go again. That was so cringy that I showed myself out. Exit stage left. I have no speed at all.
Falling behind the car in front in second.
Oh, too much. I cannot do this. I wanted to try to see if I can slide the car on the outside, but once I get into the outside I didn't have any grip at all, so yeah, not possible. Okay, we need to find a way to pass out, to pass through. Bono, my tires! Oh! Hey! Try harder. Whew. Ooh, big error! Oh, he just spinned it. Full spin. Oh man. Oh. BMW is arriving from behind. Oh, too wide, too wide.
Warning for exceeding track limits.
Oof. Who knows how my pressures are right now? I don't think they are very nice. I don't know. I would have to activate the HUD too and say, whoa, opportunity!
Car on the left. Clear on the left.
Yeah, P9. I'll take it. It's for free. Hey Dookie! Haha! How you doing, mate? Oh fuck, it's a right-hand drive car. Why Reichenov it doesn't overtake me? Come on, man. Don't play with me. I completely lack concentration tonight. But we still had fun, right? So who cares? Sometimes you just have to go for the fun and not for the performance. My Bono, my tires.
Car on the right. Clear on the right.
Oh, one more lap. Oh well. The rear tires are just... fuck you. I won't take it no more. Probably completely out of pressure or whatever. Yeah, that BM would just want to end up into the duels. I think. Bono. Oh, Bono. No tires. Terrible driving. I'm finished the talent. I'm out of luck. Yay, we finished the race. What a night. The boink.
Light damage in the rear.
Boink. Boink. Yeah, tires were just whatever. Low pressures and... that was cool though, we had some fun. We had some fun for sure. Yeah! Oh, no, it's too short. Too short of a car. Alright. Let's go save the replay so that we can have a look at the... later on. I think I can do a very nice duels from this. Let me just, well... Oh, come on. Would you say the simulation of the tires wheel package when it's turning it's interpreted as a treadmill? No, not really. Not really. The other way around, obviously. Is there an advantage to very high camber in very wet conditions? No, not really. Not really. Hey, Rakinov! Hey, man! Thank you so much. Well, you're far too kind. You let me stay in front of you, and you also support me on the channel. I mean, what can I say? Thank you so much, mate. Really, really appreciate it. But you know you were faster, right? So, thanks, mate. So, too high camber on very wet conditions? No, not really. You need less camber. You need more contact paths, and keep in mind that the wet tires have, you know, more tread to move out the water. Francesco, I have made, so it's a little bit more complex. I have made a video about that on the last, also in Italian, on the last live streams about the version 1.8 update, where I'm showing how braking outside and accelerating outside of the dry line actually has more grip. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like you should also stay completely on the outside line also in the turn. It's a little bit more complex. Also in reality it's more complex, it's not exactly like that. So when it starts raining and you have rubbered line, try to brake a little bit in the middle of the road and then go back into the racing line. Tony Sack, center spring completely disabled for every simulation game. Absolutely yes. Actually, Venci. Actually, Venci, I was really driving very badly tonight. So I apologize for that, really badly. So sometimes I could, put together 5 laps together, but usually I hope, I have shown that I'm better than that. So tonight it wasn't so good. No worries, Francesco. No worries. Let's see, where are we? So guys, do you... I think in the chat already they're doing stupid things, but that's fine, as usual. The spam goes on and on and on. So guys, do you have any questions about the initial force feedback part? Do you have anything to ask? Let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I guess let's go into the replay. In the meantime, have a look. All right. All good? Let's see what they're doing on the live chat. Yeah. Usual spam. Mount Spamorama is very well prepared tonight. All right, guys. So I hope you enjoyed the live stream. Sorry for the terrible performance. I hope you enjoyed the first part on the first feedback. And for people asking the same things that we said, please go back and have a look again on the live stream. And as usual, I will cut just the part of the first feedback and I will publish it as a single video. So you can, possibly with chapters, so that you can go in and have a look again. And I highly recommend to go through all the steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are just 5 steps, practically 4, so that you verify that your steering wheel works properly, and then you can fine tune as we said. So thanks again for everything, and see you next time on the next live stream. Goodbye, good night, goodbye, good night, goodbye. Goodbye. Where the fuck is the button here? Yes! No.